What are we doing here? What is that? What the hell is that? So two girls just drove up on a motorized trike and opened up the little free library. And it looks like there was a cup in my little free library filled with maybe pens or something. Why? I don't know why I did not put that in there. Why are you putting non-book shit? Now she just grabbed a stuffed animal in there, which apparently the girl did not want. But the other girl did want it, so they put it in the backpack. Why is old... I hate when people just put random crap in. Like, what is that? There's something in a bag. What do you... And I guarantee you this girl ain't going to close it now. Oh, she actually closed it. So they basically took everything that was not a book, hopefully. Hopefully they get rid of all the crap. I don't know why they're driving this, and they're driving this truck on the sidewalk. We're in a residential area. Why do you have that? Why are your parents such assholes? Gotta put the fan on. Because not only is it a little warm, 91 out, 107 or something, but I just sprayed my knee cap with icy hot, and now it stinks in here like icy hot. I like when they give you suggestions. It makes no sense. And it's always adding an extra couple of words that don't mean anything. Or taking words out so that it changes the meaning. So I just wrote, here's hoping that last part is true. And it tried to change it to, here's hoping that the last part is definitely true. I don't need you to add definitely in. Why did you add one fucking stupid word? I just got to get to the next page on this. It's not going to be a long one unless somebody jumps on and wants to chat. Those girls annoyed me, and now I lost my train of thought. What annoyed me is who's putting crap in my little free library. Who's putting it? There's a cup. Like she dumped a cup of pens or something into her backpack, and then put the cup back. Why do I have a cup in there? I didn't put a cup in there. I don't want a cup in there. It's for books. So now I'm going to have to go out there. There's Mr. Frank. I'm going to have to go out there. I'm going to clean out my little free library again, because people are putting non-book junk in it. Ugh. And I'm like, I guess people think that let's put a cup of pens in here. Let's put some. Every now and then I'll get, not even coloring books. I'll get pages from coloring books that they rip out and they put in like 100 pages, and I'm like, I don't need that. You don't come here. It's not grab a piece of a sheet of coloring paper or something. It's annoying. A cup of pens is in case you get thirsty while browsing. Yeah, like that's just a weird thing to put in there. Although we've gone to a lot of little free libraries over the years, and you always find a lot of weird stuff. Like there's some of them that are pantries, right? They've converted them. You see there's like bags of rice and which bugs are eating, and like canned goods and stuff like that. And I get that's fine. But when you find a can of soup or something, or some kind of weird like bread in a can in a little free library that is obviously just for books, it's a little weird. Makes no sense to me. We used to get every now and then, this is when I would check it like almost on a daily basis, but it's just too hot for that. We would get a lot of religious pamphlets, but we would get like 50 of them piled up, you know, or we would get like weird postcards, or we would get a lot of, one time I'd look out there in the morning and there's a stack of books on top of the bench, like 30 books, and they're all old, 1950s textbooks that look like they've been underwater for a month. And I'm like, so you can't just throw this shit out. You're gonna drop it off here thinking anybody else is gonna want your waterlogged books that all the pages are stuck together. I usually have an alligator and one compression sock in my elbow, and that maybe that works. I don't know. We don't actually have a lot of gators up here. Somebody was on there like, oh, you're in Florida. Oh, you must see alligators like crazy. And I'm like, not in North Florida. You go down, to the Everglades. You go down to central Lake Okeechobee, whatever the hell it is. There's, I think, the biggest population of gators in America is at the lake, but the lake is miles and miles and miles and miles. And obviously down in the Everglades there's a billion gators, but you don't have many up here. There's not many at all. Every now and then, because it's like some idiot will take one with them and think it's cool, and they'll put it in their backyard or something, but otherwise there's not really gators up here. I always look for Gatorade in the retention pond across the street. You know what? And here's the problem with that. It's always the orange flavor. You ever notice that? If next time you come down, if you look at the retention pond here, it's always the orange Gatorade. I don't get it. You don't even have iguanas. It's like I'm not even in Florida. Yeah. No, we have lizards. We got about a bajillion lizards, which drive the cats nuts because they cling to the screen. And then because the window is closed, my cats jump at the window and smack their heads against it. I'm like, you're gonna hurt yourself, dumbass. I'm partial to Glacier Cherry myself. I don't think I've had Gatorade in a long time. I can't remember the last time I had Gatorade. It's ironic because we're in Florida. Weird. There's Nick Zinn. I left the house today. I went to Dunkin'. Got me a coffee. Then I went and got gas. Because I get gas like, I don't know, once every 3 months maybe in the Charger. And I was like, I probably should get gas. It's on empty. I was going to get it the other day, but it was like 1,000 degrees. I was like, it's only 10 o'clock in the morning. It's only like 90. And then I went to the library. Because I saw last night a message. Oh, your book is in. It's like, cool. All right, one of my books is in. Drive to the library. Go to the section and look for my ROSA. Grab the book. Check out. Come home. I'm excited. It's a crime thriller set in Miami. It's an author that Michael Wiley had interviewed a couple weeks ago, and the book sounded interesting. He had read the first chapter of it, and I was like, you know what? This sounds really good. It sounds nice and gritty, you know. So I got that. Get home, and I go to my emails, and I'm like, okay, I can delete that, and I open it up, and I realize 2 of my books had come in, and I literally did not grab the second book. And you know what the second book was? The autobiography from Geezer Butler. That was the other one I was actually looking forward to reading that one. And now I'm like, now I got to go back out, but I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that today. So I got to do it tomorrow. So now I got to leave the house again tomorrow to go to the library again because I'm an idiot. I watched Bratz last night. How was it? I've not heard great things about it, but you're usually my litmus test for stuff, Mr. Frank. You'll be honest with me, be like, that was alright or that wasn't great. Oh, here comes the Ali Sheedy rant. Andrew McCarthy is a whiny little bitch. I read his book. Him and his son did that 1,000-mile walk or whatever the hell it is, religious walk thing in France or somewhere. I don't know. The book came out a couple years ago. I read that, and yeah, his son was like 17 or 18. It was like a total dickhead, and he just basically just kissed his son's ass the whole time. And he was just like, I mean, you know, he's mad because, you know, maybe I'm not spending enough time with him. Even though I'm like, what are you doing? When's the last time you were in anything? You know, my kids don't want to see my movies. My kids don't want. They get mad when people at school would always say, "Oh, that's your dad." They would get so angry. So shut up. You know what? The fucking clothes he's wearing and everything he's been able to do is because of you and those dumb movies you made. So your kid's a jerk, and guess what? You're a jerk. There you go. That was the first thing I thought when I saw that. I was like, Andrew, nah. Yeah. I'm like, let's see what Judd Nelson. No, Judd Nelson in this. I forget it. I did see the pictures of them, and I'll tell you what, Ali Sheedy don't look bad. She don't look bad. She looks much better than a lot of the broads from that time, like John Cryer. That broad looks weird with a shaved head. All right. As Frank says, the whole premise of his doc was that getting labeled the Brat Pack was terrible for his career, but everyone he interviewed was like, it was no big deal and made us something special, even though we took it for about 5 seconds. Oh, he totally snubbed Anthony Michael Hall? What? You mean the only one out of that whole group that actually had a semi-career after that? I mean, who else really had a career after that? Emilio Estevez? Not really. Judd Nelson? Not really. Definitely not. Ali Sheedy was in nothing. Molly Ringwald? Nothing. Didn't even acknowledge he was part of it. Wow. Rob Lowe, yeah, that's true. Rob Lowe is doing okay. Rob Lowe has been in stuff. He's probably maybe the most famous out of the group. Still relevant. You know, they did a Rob Lowe roast. They didn't do a Andrew McCarthy roast. Tried to play like Leah Thompson and John Cryer were in it. John Cryer looks weird now. Of course, he's on like some other now new lame, totally lame show, and I'm like, his head is shaved, and he just looks. He looks like John Travolta's took a poop, and that's what it looks like. John Travolta with a shaved head and that fake black beard looks weird, and that's what John Cryer looks like. What has really Leah Thompson had done since Back to the Future? Not much, I tell you. That wasn't why your career died, Andrew. It's because you were not a good actor, to be completely honest. To just throw it out there. You were not a good actor. Molly Ringwald was basically like, let's not dwell on the past. Yep. That's basically her and Judd Nelson were like, yeah, none of this really means anything. I think she married somebody famous. I think that was her deal. Popped out a couple of kids. Let's look up Molly Ringwald. Let's see what Molly's doing. She's 56 years old. She started on The Different Strokes and The Facts of Life. She became a teen idol. Let's do the personal life. She likes foreigners. She married a French writer and they divorced in 2002. Then she married a Greek writer in 2007. They have a daughter and fraternal boy-girl twins. A lot of nothing. She wrote some lame books. She last starred in something in 2023. She was in Judy Blume Forever. She played herself. It was a documentary. In 2018, she was in The Kissing Booth. 2020, she was in The Kissing Booth 2. And 2021, she was in The Kissing Booth 3. She was an episode of Single Drunk Female, an episode of Housebroken, and 5 episodes of Feud, Capote versus the Swans. She also has 3 albums, apparently. This girl's done everything. She's done everything and done nothing. She did that one movie where she showed her boobs on a sailboat or something like that. I don't remember that. But did you enjoy when the writer who named them brought back didn't apologize? That son of a bitch. He should apologize to just Andrew McCarthy because he's the only one, it sounds like, that it was mad. Could McCarthy have made it more uncomfortable, and could that guy not have given one iota more of a shit? Now I might have to watch it. I did not watch Skinwalker Ranch yesterday. I was going to, and then I was like, I'm going to read a little bit. And I read a little bit. I took a 15-minute nap before fucking cats started fighting. Woke me up. Then I watched, no, then I didn't watch anything. And then my wife was on her way home from work, and she's like, "We got to go early because I got to pick something up." All right. Then we went and picked up her mom, and the three of us went to Outback for authentic Australian food. I did get a bloomin' onion. And the anti something or other chicken thing. I don't know. And then she dropped me off first, and she went to drop her mom off, and I knew she was going to be at her mom's for like an hour. So I watched the WWE Legends, the episode about ECW, where they basically just talk about how great Extreme Championship Wrestling was, even though they made no money and they were bankrupt in like 10 years. But still, it was just phenomenal. I got a new phone now, and I'm trying to sign into apps. It's not letting me. It's just, I hate getting a new phone. I get a new phone like every 45 years. Every 45 years. Did they cover that ECW match where one guy made the other bleed? I think they talked about that one, yeah. They, I don't know if you know anything about ECW. Me and my brother actually went about 1998, 1999, something like that. We actually went down to Philly, to the Viking Hall, ECW Arena. We actually went and saw a taping. And I was not a wrestling fan at that point, really watching it at all. But my brother wanted to go. I think we were going. I actually think he was going because he had to pick up drugs. Is really why he invited me to go, and he needed me to drive because we stopped at some shady place he ran inside. But anyway, we went to the taping, and some dude jumped off the balcony onto a guy who was on like 3 tables. So they had to stack all these tables just to get up onto the tables, just to lay the guy. And the guy was just, like, at this point, dude, you should at least try to fight back. And then they jumped off the balcony and he crushed them through 3 tables. I'm like, man, they must have had about 1,000 tables back there. That crappy place. But anyway, yeah, they showed a lot. It was like basically barbed wire and blood and people who couldn't actually wrestle beating each other up, and they showed them when the ring collapsed because the Public Enemy tag team invited everybody into the ring with them, and then that ring was a piece of junk, and then it just collapsed. They showed that scene about, 47 times in the hour. Technology is your kryptonite, very much so. Here's what I know about ECW. Sting. And I'm not even humble. No, that was WCW. Sting was in WCW. Should have invested in table stocks. Yeah, at one point, though, they do show a shot from backstage, and literally those tables, there's got to be 100 of them stacked up. I'm like, man, they went through a lot of tables. Every match, they broke like 5-6 tables. Ridiculous. Hey, watch that. And they're like, oh, this was the greatest wrestling, and people were, WWF and WCW were scared of us because of, the things we did and blah, blah, blah. And then somebody was like, oh, ECW, extreme crappy wrestling? Yeah. Like, none of those, hardly any of those guys ever went anywhere after 2001 when they went bankrupt. Most of those guys never wrestled again because they weren't good wrestlers. Because they were just awful people, barroom brawlers who like to beat up on people. Who cares? I wonder if Netflix will do another season of Al Snow's Company. I hope so. I hope so. No, I just read that the WWE is starting in January. Their Thursday, Monday or Thursday, one of their shows will be on Netflix. So it's moving to Netflix. And they said there's going to be now we'll have profanity and we'll have rated R violence, and we can do whatever we want to do, because Vince McMahon's not in the company anymore because you know sexual harassment charges left and right. Now a new one came out that he was having sex with male workers as well. So that's a whole hot mess. But the dude from what was that guy, Dana White from the MMA thing, UFC, he owns them. Basically, he basically owns it now. So they signed a deal with Netflix. So there you go. I had grilled cheese sandwiches for lunch today. Betty White's son, yeah, you know him. Well, his name is Dana, so it could be her daughter. Who knows? And it's raining. Here it comes. Here comes the rain again. Excuse me. This looks like a heavy one. Did you use 3 different types of cheese? No, I used 2 sandwiches, 2 slices of American. I unwrapped them and that was it. Some bread. Swiss Baby Swiss and Swissiest Swiss. I do love Swissiest Swiss though. That is delicious. I don't grilled cheese. I just use the American Kraft singles. Swiss cheese for me is delicious. My favorite of all the various cheeses, but it is better for if I have like a ham and salami sandwich. I melt it on my burger. And at times I will also put it on my cheesesteaks, if I make cheesesteaks. Depending what kind of mood I'm in. Yeah, it is raining. They came and cut the lawn, so now it'll all grow again. We're supposed to go to the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp baseball game tomorrow night with her cousin's kids. Her second cousins, I guess. But it's supposed to be raining all day tomorrow. I was like, well, you didn't buy the tickets yet. And she's like, yeah, I bought the tickets. So I was like, all right. Whatever. So, we might go, we might not go. Who knows? The only mono grilled cheese you should be making is with the block of government cheese. You can't cut the government cheese, though. You got to just put 2 pieces of bread on, one on top and one on the bottom. And just basically just throw the whole thing on the stove. We didn't have knives that were sharp enough to cut the government cheese. I did date a girl for a while, believe it or not. There's more to this story. And she was like, oh, I put like 5 different cheeses on my grilled cheese. And I would always be like, all right, yeah, just give me the American cheese. No, you gotta. I get blocks and I cut. No, I don't want you to cut the cheese. I just want to rip 2 pieces of cheese. I don't like Gouda. You don't put Gouda on grilled cheese sandwiches. You don't put Munster cheese on grilled cheese sandwiches. What the fuck are you doing? Like, I'll take a slice of the Swiss and I want the cheddar, but I want it cut very thin. she got like, just try this. I'm like, I don't like Munster cheese. I don't like Gouda cheese. You know, don't try to put feta cheese on anything. Bubba and his block of cheese, white, American, or yellow. You know, I'm partial to the yellow, but I will eat the white on occasion if we have it. Oh, you totally put Munsters on a grilled cheese. No. Munster, not Munsters. No. I'm not a fan of Munster cheese. There's not a ton of... I don't like anything weird. Must should be your base cheese and a proper grilled cheese. It's like if you go online and you get like a recipe. Oh, I want a recipe for some grilled cheese. But then you got to read like 15 pages of how their grandmother survived the Holocaust. And you know, how she started making grilled cheese sandwiches. Like, just give me the fucking recipe. If I could figure it out, I'd use Parmesan in a grilled cheese. That might be interesting. Like, I don't even know all the... Like, people mention cheeses, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't even know if that's a real... Is that a real cheese? I don't even know if that's a real cheese. Monkfish cheese? I don't know what that is. I mean, I'll try it, but I don't know what that is. And everybody's like, oh, well, have you tried? And I've tried all of them. I've tried all of the cheeses. All the various cheeses I've had pieces of. I used to have a friend, Dan, who... for Dungeons and Dragons, if he hosted at his house, his mother would make, which I guess was like a charcuterie board before they called it that back in the 80s. And she would literally use a giant piece of wood. And she would cut all these different various cheeses, right? She would do blocks, little blocks of cheese. And then she would pile them into a pyramid, like 6 or 7 different. And she would put a toothpick in it, and she would write on a sticky note, like one of those little thin ones. She would write what the kind of cheese was, and she would stick it onto the little post-it note onto the toothpick, so you knew which pile, what was in each pile. And then we'd have like a bunch of like Toll House crackers. And she would sometimes she would go crazy, and she would get like a summer sausage, and she would cut it up, and then you would have little chunks of summer sausage you put on top of the cheese, on top of the cracker. Oh, let's try this Gouda. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, let's try Munster cheese. Oh, that's gross. Let's try, I don't even know what this says. That's not bad. Gatorade flavored cheese, that might be delicious. Or cheese flavored Gatorade, also delicious. When we had Dungeons and Dragons at my house, my mother would basically make a giant bowl of pasta, like 5 pounds of pasta. And then we would just eat pasta all night. Yeah, 80s fancy is right. 80s was, hey, you're in charge of bringing 2 bags of Doritos, and you're in charge of bringing a 2 liters of Coke, and you're in charge of bringing whatever, you know, like bring a bag of M&Ms or something like that. That was basically Dungeons and Dragons. But when the moms got involved, you know, then you would say like, oh, Dan's mom, she does like fancy cheeses and stuff. And then Russ's mom was like, fancy cheeses, screw that. I'm gonna grill cheeseburgers. We're all getting hamburgers, you know. I'm gonna grill some hot dogs for everybody, and then we'd all eat like kings every Friday and Saturday night. Funyuns, yeah, you had to have Funyuns. Funyuns are disgusting. I had Funyuns not too long ago, like a little bag of it. I'm like, oh, Funyuns, they got Funyuns here, and I ate. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't like Funyuns. Like 1 or 2 is good. Once you eat like half a bag of them, gross. Let's pile cheese on wood and watch Brat Pack movies. Yep, that's pretty much what we did. Yeah, we played Dungeons & Dragons every Friday and Saturday night because, you know, none of us could get laid. I always remember that Friends episode when Ross and Chandler keep talking about their friend Gandalf is coming. And Joey says, why do you keep calling this guy Gandalf? Is that his name? And they're like, no, Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. You didn't read Tolkien when you were in high school? And Joey's like, no, I was having sex. And I was like, no, I read Tolkien in high school. You lived Maze. I lived Maze. Yes. Oh God, I remember that. Thank God my mother was cool. My mother was like, listen, if you're going to listen to Ozzy Osbourne and AC/DC and Black Sabbath and all this stuff, I want to know what you're listening to. But I'm not ever going to tell you can't listen to it. Just don't make dumb decisions. Plus, my mother's only 18 years older than me. So when I grew up, we had the first Black Sabbath album she had in her collection. My mother listened to Queen. My mother listened to all that 70s crap. Which is probably why I hate all that 70s crap now. Which is probably why I don't like Alice Cooper, because my mother listened to Alice Cooper. Stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, you can't listen to the same garbage your parents are listening to. But she bought me, I think I was 12, and she bought me my Dungeons & Dragons, the basic set. And then I found other people all other idiots who were playing, and then from 12 to 18 or 19, I played Dungeons & Dragons every Friday and Saturday night of my life. And then we would go, during the summer, we'd have 5 or 6, we had a buddy who was older who lived in Avenel, New Jersey. Fucking armpit of the world. Close enough to the prison. We would go to his apartment for 5 or 6 straight days, and he would go to work and come back during lunch, and he would play, and then come back at 5 o'clock from work, and we would play all night. My dad listened to Glenn Campbell, so that was good. Excellent. I heard Glenn Campbell was a total asshole. I've seen that on a couple of documentaries, that Glenn Campbell was a jerk. He was one of the, was he one of the Swampers or one of the Wrecking Crew? He was one of those house musician guys who made it and then turned his back on everybody and was a total asshole to session musicians, even though he was a session musician. I also heard a story, I don't know if it's true or not, that Johnny Cash was in the studio recording. And they're recording a song, and middle of the night, his producer calls and says, we got a problem, you got to come down to the studio. Johnny Cash goes down to the studio. What's the problem? The janitor, we caught him in the studio, playing one of your guitars, your recording guitar. And they said, is this true? And the guy said, yeah. And they said, well, what are you doing? You're going to get fired. And he said, I was here all day cleaning, and whenever I came into the studio, the session musician, the guitar player who was playing, could not get that part down. And I heard it in my head, and then I came in just to see if I could, basically, if I could play it. So they were so the producer, I called the police already, and Johnny Cash was like, hold on, can you play it? And he's like, yeah, I think I can. So just get in there and play it. Says the producer, record. And the guy went in and played the part perfect. And the producer was like, well, he's going to jail or whatever. And the Johnny Cash said, no, actually, you're fired, and I am now hiring you. You are no longer a janitor. You are now my session guitar player. And that guitar player was Glenn Campbell. That's how he got his start. And I've read that I think I read that in a Johnny Cash book once, if I'm not mistaken. That one I have to look up. I will boycott all Glenn Campbell compers here. You know what? You seem like, out of all of us, you seem like the person that would more than likely go to a Glenn Campbell concert rather than me and Frank, for instance. you and your imaginary girlfriend go to see some weird random concerts. So I could see you go to, yeah, we're going to see Glenn Campbell this weekend. Oh yeah, well no, you know, Janet Jackson was sold out. Well, they only had 4 tickets, and the surviving members, the brothers, they bought all the tickets, so we couldn't go. We got to the next page. It does sound like a tall tale, right? Let me look that one up. Wonder what I look up. You played with the Wrecking Crew. He excluded 3 children from his will. He suffered from Alzheimer's disease for several years prior to his death. I don't know. Glenn Travis Campbell. He's married 4 times. 9 children. Doesn't really say anything about anything. Also doesn't say anything about being a janitor. Well, maybe that was all a bunch of BS. Is Glenn Campbell Johnny Cash's bitch? I don't know. Next page, Nixon. You son of a... Next page. I tried to see Janet Jackson last year. Actually, was sick though didn't go. I remember you saying something about Janet Jackson. I'm like, why? Why would you? Why? You were sick because you were like, why am I going? Now I got myself sick. Glenn Campbell probably had a big hog. Probably 9 kids, married 4 times. I like how he left 3 of the kids out of his will. I'm doing that too. I'm leaving 3 of my kids out of my will. All right, another chapter done. Beat to death like a dog. Gen 2 cents if you're nasty. So I've finished the chapter. Now I have 48, 49, and 50. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But this is a big but. Get it, big but. Saturday I'm probably not going to have time to write much. Unless I can get out of bowling. That is a good tune, right? Very good song. One of their many, many, many hits. I don't remember who that is. Rhino Bucket? Is that who that is? Yesterday when I was listening to some tunage. No, not Black Country. What are you, Chuck Buddha? I got into the daily mix thing, and they had like 4 or 5 Kick Tracy songs, and I'm like, I like all these songs. Like I don't remember ever having a Kick Tracy cassette or listening to them, but apparently not a bad band. I wouldn't say hits. I would say good songs. I think you're spelling the name of the band wrong. I think it's like 2 E's or something. No, Chuck is Black Cherry Smoke Iron something. I don't know. Can't keep track. Which one is Black Stone Cherry then? See, that's how you spell it. Kick Tracy. I don't think I ever had their cassette. They played them on WSOU a lot, though. Like 2 or 3 songs. And then I think over time, I learned more of their songs and enjoyed them. It's kind of the same as in Killer Dwarves or Leatherwolf. You know, I had that one Leatherwolf cassette. Did you see the thing? I guess is an outtake from the Dee Snider thing, where he talks about all of these shitty bands that killed metal, and he's like, "Oh, all the W bands: Whitesnake, White Lion, Warrant. Those 3 bands killed killed metal. None of those bands should have ever released anything." And I'm like, shut up. No rules were there. Yep. The other one was, I think they did a cover of Mrs. Robinson. I think that was them. I don't know. I like that guy's voice. It's like whiny and grating, but not too overpowering whining and grating, which is good. London Choir Boys. What's the song? It's 7 o'clock. Time for a party. The only song I know by them. Although I think that's probably it. I saw a thing on Facebook where, what is the band? I want to say Degeneration, or it might be the Dogs D'Amour. One of those crappy bands is putting out like a huge box set or something, and I'm like, what? Yeah, 7 o'clock. Time for a party. Like, why are these bands that didn't really even have a hit? Why are they putting out a box set? What are you people doing? It's the only song anybody knows about them. Yeah, I've never heard, even thought about it. Even London Choir Boys. They were the Queer Boys. Then they were the London Choir Boys, and then they were Choir Boys, or Choir Boys, and then London Choir Boys. I love Dogs and More. You did? I don't even know a song by them, I don't think. Although it might be one of those where, oh, I didn't realize that was them. That's who I think is putting out like this big box set of like all their albums and then outtakes and then live stuff and demos and all this other crap. Yeah, they're very big in the UK. I do remember that. I knew the name. I just don't recall any of the actual songs. I don't know. I got nothing. All right, I'm going to end this. Put a fork in me. I'm done. I'm the Dynamite Jet Saloon. In the Dynamite Jet Saloon was great top to bottom. I will have to check that out. I will have to see if you're right or if not, and I will shit all over you tomorrow. Remember, I will be here tomorrow, but I'll probably be a little early, about 12:30, because I have therapy at 2 tomorrow. So I need to mentally prepare for that. Talk about you people. All right. Thank you for hanging out, Frank. Thank you for hanging out with Nick. Anybody else who was silently popping in, and I appreciate it. Also, to resubscribe and subscribe on my YouTube as well. I will see you tomorrow.